Okay, hi everyone. This is Tiffany, also known as the Perfectly Wise. I'm coming here with our September energetic update or community update here. So let's go into it. As similar before here, which if you're just new, kind of joining me here, you can find this and all of my other energetic and community updates on my website www.theperfectlywise.com. But as similar before here, one thing I like to do off the top there is provide a recap there for the previous month, and then kind of bring into some insights that I was getting here between meditation and just kind of what was coming up here intuitively for September. I'm then going to go into the reading there to see if anything kind of confirms that or provides additional color and context around that. And, that'll pretty much wrap us up there. So, I wrote some notes here. Let me just get them out here. So here are a couple of things here again, coming from August here. And if you recall there, if you watched the reading for August, the update for August, which again, you can find this and other sessions there at www.theperfectlywise.com. But one big thing a couple of things here that really captured for August there was in totality this notion here of the power of the I am. So along that vertical here, a couple of big themes that came up there was around this notion here of one, the knowing of the self, and the knowing here from a very balanced place here. So, not the knowing from the sense of, from the very unbalanced, over animated ego space there, but really a balanced mind, heart, resonant connection there in the knowing of the self and the deeper knowing of the selves in the self and the ways there where in how you really know yourself at in a really healthy, holistic, balanced way there that informs your movements, your perspectives, your actions, and all of that moving forward. So there was that notion. There was also this notion of the stepping into your power, and the ways there in which the knowing of yourself fortifies that power, and a power here that in any ways where there would be obstacles, any things like that, it clears it all out. You're not held back. So that was that, which then leads into the third theme here of not accepting disempowering imprints ever again. In that real fortifying of the knowing of the self and stepping into your power, you're not letting these notions and constructs here on whether it's a virus or your earth-based circumstances, just any mindset perspectives there, it doesn't stand to hold you back anymore. And along that vertical here, there was also a theme there of, especially for like artistically inclined and talented folks there, light workers, healers, folks there who are really animated and really inspire there in their creative expression here. There's a notion here that we really are going to need each other for help. So in the ways there where you ask for help and really lend not only within what you can provide there, but what you reach out and ask for here and asking for help, really going forward and doing so, because we really are going to need each other to move forward. So since August, admittedly, kind of a lot there has shifted. Beginning kind of, I would say this happened around like Lionsgate weekend, that weekend of 8/8. I really perceived a big, and a lot of folks there, intuitives, light workers there, perceive really this big shift there, where it's almost like in the battle of light and dark, of the dark side and the light side here, the light side won. There was a little while here, this thread point here, where we were kind of stepping forward and going like, okay, well, this is our new normal, and we're stepping forward there. And then there was kind of that reel back, almost like a second, a second imprint there of entrapment, a second wave, there's the word, yeah, a second wave there of fear that kind of came over there. So I perceived really, and a lot energetically, I really felt like a lot of that sort of shifted. And so going into September here, a big theme that I was getting here, it would be timely here because recently, if I believe 2 days ago, or I believe on the 17th, 3 days ago, Mercury, after spending like literally all of 2 seconds in Leo, Mercury shifted and went into Virgo. And Mercury likes to hang out in Virgo. They're the two signs there, Virgo and Gemini, where Mercury is exalted. So really with that Mercury and Virgo energy especially, I was getting this really big theme for September, really encapsulated around this theme of let's get to work. Yeah, that was a big thing that I was getting there very much for September. A lot of Queen of Pentacles, a lot of that kind of like, let's kind of like get to work here. So along that vertical here, a couple things here I was getting was from the fortified sense of self and knowing of self, we now get to work, number one. Number two, there's also this notion I was getting of like abundance, prosperity, and love in our earth based conditions are favorable, and they do stand to be favorable should you choose to co create in these conditions. Yeah, so that was number two. And then number three, there was also this big theme that I was getting here around redefining what work really means to you. So there's this notion here that work does not have to serve to exalt winners and losers. Yeah. So there's a notion here also of like, I was getting a lot there. I was actually in part inspired by something that I was reading, a lot that I was reading here in the public scope, but where I also got this intuitive download here around impact, fulfillment, etc. are now defined in new ways. I was getting actually capturing that energy, a lot of this particular energy. I was drawn to pull out, this is from Aleister Crowley's Thoth deck, the Hangman. And I was getting here, it's very interesting because this energy here, it's a lot of Neptunian energy. It's a lot of very spiritual energy, actually. And I was really drawn into this energy here because there's a notion here in how our work and conditions here on earth are redefined, restructured, and really co-created in a new way here. There's a big notion here, number one, that there is a new perspective. In that redefinition here, it is a new perspective that we are co-creating with, redefining with. It's almost like it's the following of the higher mind. Yeah, it's work here that's coming from the higher mind, which necessarily is connected to our hearts. Yeah, because it's from our heart where the higher mind speaks and where that kind of language, where that space and connection is really languaged. So there was that notion that I was getting as well. I was also getting this notion here along that vertical of this hangman energy, this notion here where our conditions in life, they're necessary. All that we are going through, all that we're co-creating, all that's kind of here in our space, they are necessary. They're necessary and they serve a higher purpose. And the ways there in which we perceive our conditions here from that space there, the more powerful our manifesting power and our magic work stands to be. So there is that. Again, additionally, I was getting here in mind and heart, we make magic work in large part by alchemizing and transferring our own earth-based conditions. So when I say earth-based conditions, I mean like our jobs, our home-based conditions, our relationships, like those really tangible space conditions there. We essentially alchemize and transfer those conditions to their highest expressions, which again is expressed here in this hangman energy. So we perceive these conditions through a notion here of Christ light and love. So essentially here there's a mind-heart shift there, which would necessarily follow along with this larger collective energetic shift. How they resonate there on the individual level here is that we view those conditions and transfer those conditions to their highest expressions. So those conditions where we might have perceived them previously as like, this sucks, like there's so much fear here, I don't know what to do, I'm in lack, I'm stuck here. You really get to transfer them to a higher perspective of perhaps it's like, wow, like this was a wonderful learning experience. Wow, this relationship was a wonderful learning experience. Wow, this person here I was in this relationship with or in connection with, perhaps it doesn't resonate where we connect anymore, but they really taught me a lot. Like it's really kind of transferring here from that higher expression, in space there. And I was also getting here, going into September here, this notion finally of definitely also increased productivity. Along that vertical here of like getting to work, here is where we are very productive. Here is where we kind of get a game plan for what we're doing here. You might find here, especially in the ways that you kind of leverage a lot of earth-based energy, you really tap into that practical sense. You really tap into that, okay, how do I make this happen? What's going on? You really center within that space. And more importantly, in a space there where you are inspired and gifted with a lot of inspiration, a lot of abundance, a lot of prosperity, a lot of resources, and efficient use of resources, here's where your game plan is made there. But it starts first and foremost here in the higher mind, in the new perspective. So that's what I was getting in summary there for September. I'm going to go ahead and get into the session, the reading here, to either confirm this, add additional message, color, and context around it. So let's go. Let's see. And today I am pulling from the Cosmic Tarot deck. So let's see. All right, let's go ahead and shuffle the deck here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is an inside joke, but my stance right now is actually, the way I'm sitting on this chair is actually similar to the stance here in the Hangman. It's like my leg is crossed, leg down. That's an aside, but anyways, I just totally got distracted. Let's shuffle again. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right. Okay. Ooh, okay. 2 of Swords immediately just jumped out. Okay. Yeah, what will you choose there as far as your perspective? Yeah. As far as your perspective, as far as your pathway here, yeah, what are you choosing? I see. The key axis there is a choice. Within the free will here that you have here within your physical body, our physical bodies here, there's always a choice. There's always a choice here in how we perceive that. How we interact with it, how we engage with those conditions, how we perceive. Interesting. Okay. Beautiful angels. Ascended masters. Creatures of the elemental realm. Creatures of nature. Spirit guides, ancestors. Beings of love and light who know us well and wish us well. I thank you for another day. We thank you for another day of love, life, and purpose on this earthly plane. I ask you, in leading into September for our collective, for our community, what messages of love, light, healing, and wisdom do you have for us? Led as always and channeled as always by my own intuition. I'm also getting in this 2 of Swords energy. For some folks in the collective here, there can be a certain a stoppage and stop point there in the adoption of a new perspective. And honestly, in the space there where you make a choice and set forth on a new plan, on a new pathway. You might be in a stalemate situation there as far as how you're moving forward. I perceive here where the opening of the heart space and the language that you, and the ways there in which you language what's going on there in the heart will help you at this time. Any messages of love, light, healing, and wisdom for our collective at this time? Led as always and channeled as always by my own intuition. Okay, I need a card to actually flip over. Any messages of love, light, healing, and wisdom? Uncharacteristically quiet. Ooh, okay, never mind. Yeah, 5 of Wands. Yeah. I was getting a certain Yeah, I was getting a certain underbelly of like discordancy and like battling, like a back and forth thing. Yeah, that's what's captured here in this Five of Wands energy. Yeah, with this combination here, Two of Swords and Five of Wands. For some folks here in the collective here, and a great advice there for those folks there would be in receiving help. In the ways there where you are stuck, in the ways there where you are, it's almost like it's like almost like there's a battle of will here of how to move forward, how to occupy that higher mind perspective, how to really perceive the love and the light in all that's happening here, and also develop your game plan. Yeah. An advice there might be you might find it helpful there and resonant there to receive help. And this is where I'm getting here. It's kind of following along here from August into September and onwards. Yeah. More generally, you might be finding more inspiration there and a push there to receive help and counsel and resources. And also in a way here learning something different, learning, adding to a base here of learning. Yeah, interesting. Here are the messages of love, light, healing, and wisdom. Ooh, yeah, Five of Pentacles. Yeah, I'm getting a couple fives here, and okay. Yeah, among other things here, there's a notion here in this Five of Pentacles energy here. I'm getting a notion here where among those perspectives and just the ways there in which your mind and heart is really either one, balanced or imbalanced in resonance, and also in how you're perceiving and interacting and co-creating within your conditions here. Five of Pentacles energy here is giving me a certain I'm getting a scarcity mindset in this Five of Pentacles energy. I'm getting a certain hopelessness and dissolution there. I'm getting a certain, yeah, that's what I'm getting in this Five of Pentacles energy. Yeah. A stuck, desolated, a hopeless. And it's almost like you might find here in this combination of Five of Wands and Five of Pentacles energy, you might find yourself maybe even kind of racking your brain and head around, why do I feel this way? Why am I thinking this way? Because it's almost like on a larger energetic scale there, it doesn't even seem to be a match. Yeah, like it seems like there's just been this way here where there's been just even more so of a sense of optimism and just something there in your perspective. It's like almost alerting you to say, okay, I'm really settling in here and battling a certain scarcity, hopeless, I don't know what to do kind of energy, and this doesn't feel comfortable. I don't feel like on a larger scale here, the conditions that are around me are really supporting this mindset. Is really supporting this condition. And that would stand to be correct because on a larger energetic scale here, that perspective and resonance of energy there has shifted and has changed. So you might have necessarily even felt here and maybe even felt stuck there in the notion there of like, I feel like I'm being almost kind of left behind in this new perspective and in this new scale. What's happening? What's wrong? What do I need to think about? What do I need to consider? Like what's going on here? Interesting. Yeah, the sun at the bottom of the deck there. Yeah, there's a new space here of pull this out of the bottom. Yeah, in the sun energy here. Yeah, there's a space there where there is a brighter, optimal, just light-filled energy here. The answer also in your perspective is also in seeing the light. It can be very tempting here to really reanimate here the notions here of all that is stuck. It can be very easy to be a pessimist. The conditions here on the face value, perspective here, the conditions here, even the news that's being given out here, can make it really easy for you to be not only sort of like have a pessimistic point of view, but also stay there. and within your actions and within your perspectives and thought forms and what you say, continue to animate and reanimate that. It can be very hard within that space, in this combination, Five of Pentacles, the Sun, to see the light, to see the brighter day, to see where here that we have moved on. And it stands best there to move on to the light, to see the light, to let that light and love flow through you. Yeah, lovers of the lovers below that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. These two expressions here, the lovers and the sun here, really is capturing this notion here of high, deep, deep, deep resonance of love and light. That is really right here. That is very much available for you and for us in this, our community, in our collective, to capture and make our decisions through. Filter our decisions, filter our perspectives, filter our movements through life here through that lens. Through that lens. Yeah. 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 Interesting. Okay. Here are the messages of love, light, healing, and wisdom for our community, for collective, for September. Yeah, they're pulling me out here to the Hangman over here. Yeah, this is where really this energy here and theme here really. Oh, I see. There it is. Yeah, there's the connective thread here. Yeah, in answering for folks there who still might be kind of holding on here and not. Maybe you perceive here where your pessimistic perspective here feels incompatible here to what really, number one here is that what stands to be the higher expression of your life, of your perspective, and of your conditions here on earth. You might find here where you're put on an energetic timeout. Hangman energy is kind of giving that. It's almost like there's a standstill there. Yeah. A moment there to stay still and come in reflecting and really optimizing a sense of higher learning here. Because a lot of that also is in a space of truth. The truth there in this sort of space there is subjective. Whether you perceive your conditions here from this lack perspective, despondent, hopeless lack, or from this really, really lovely, yummy place of love and light, you're correct either way. So perhaps in that space there, you find here where it is imperative and helpful here to almost kind of put yourself in a bit of an energetic timeout here to kind of go, okay, so what am I going to really choose here? What am I really moving forward here with here? Because it seems like whatever I perceive here, that is all that is reflected around me. And most essentially, that serves to be correct here because that starts most essentially within you. What is manifested and brought forth here and what you perceive and see, and in another realm there, make decisions based off of, it's all based in your own perspective. Okay. Yeah. But I am getting very clearly here where for the folks there where there is this lack and hopelessness there, you might find where that perspective increasingly, especially as we're really getting to a sense of work and making decisions there around what our work is here, what our pathways are moving forward there, you might find where that perspective increasingly, it's almost like you feel weird having that perspective. It seems strange somehow energetically from a larger energetic, as your perspective is centered within a larger energetic resonance there, it's like it's incompatible. It doesn't seem to fit anymore. That story seems to be very old. That disempowering, disillusioned story seems like stale. You might perceive it as a bit more stale now. I actually don't like telling this story anymore. I don't want to tell this story anymore. Interesting. Any other messages of love, light, healing, and wisdom for our community, for our collective, for September? Led as always and channeled as always by my own intuition. That deep place of inner knowing and wisdom. Any other messages? Ooh. Any other messages for our community, for collective, for September? Interestingly, and I'm also getting here where people and settings here also serve in that, in this Two of Swords and Lovers energy. I'm getting partnerships, I'm getting unions, I'm getting the people that you're associated with. They carry that energetic resonance as well. You might find in the Four of Cups energy here where you are disillusioned, or you might be disillusioned or otherwise reframing and rethinking here who you're associated with and who and what settings there you lend your energetic energy to. Interesting. That just came through real quick. Are the messages of love, light, healing, and wisdom for September for our community? Whoop. Whoop. Didn't flip over. That is always, channeled as always by my own intuition, that deep place of inner knowing and wisdom. Any other messages? These cards are quite quiet. Any other messages? Let's cut the deck here. Foot down here. Any other messages of love, light, and healing and wisdom for our collective, for our community for September? Woo! Here we go. Ooh. Eight. Oh, here we go. Yeah, the Virgo card here. Eight of Pentacles. Yeah. Yeah, this is confirming the work here. Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, it's... Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm getting actually, this is very interesting. So at the beginning here, I was talking about here, and in this Eight of Pentacles expression, this is the Virgo card. It is Virgo energy there. And Virgos are, among other things, Virgo energy, very perfectionistic, very hardworking. Yeah, that's really a lot of that energy here. Also study. But there is a notion here I was actually getting here. They're clarifying and bringing another notion in here. So at the beginning here, I was talking about how where there was this big theme of like, let's get to work. This work, quote unquote, here is actually, I'm actually getting where this is drawing here in multiple conditions, not just in our earth-based conditions. It's also in our mind. Yeah. This combination here, so the Hangman at the bottom, the Hangman right here in the middle, Eight of Pentacles and Five of Pentacles here, where this work here is on, it's on Earth and our Earth-based conditions. It's also within our relationships, but it's also within our mind and with our heart. It's in the stuff that makes up, it's in the stuff that makes us up, most essentially on the inside. Yeah. Interesting. You got to work on that. Yeah. And you might also find here, interestingly enough here, where if even in the smallest steps that you take there from a practical, tangible level here, your mindset and internal self there starts to change also. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. 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 Interesting. Interesting. Ooh. Any other messages of love, light, healing, and wisdom for our community, for collective, for September? I don't know why that Eight of Pentacles like has me entranced. Yeah, it's time to get to work. The discordancy, the despondency, the hopelessness, the oh my goodness. Yeah, we gotta get to work. Time to put together a plan and make it work. Okay, so there's Two of Cups that came out there. There's working. Wow. There's working to a place here where your conditions and your feelings and your whole resonance of life here feels complete, feels whole, feels like it is not essentially divided and separated in any sort of way. And it's quite auspicious that both the Lovers and the Two of Cups are on that deck, are on the card on the table here. Yeah, the combination of those two on the spread here is giving me it's working on the union. Wow, working on the union. Working within the space there where two parts come together and make whole. Yeah, two parts come together to make one. I see. So in the ways here where in this combination, Two of Cups, Five of Pentacles energy here, where you might feel like, I don't feel like myself, I don't like this condition and perspective and way here and where I'm living and where I'm perceiving things. I feel like I'm just kind of battling to break out of this matrix here, break out of this matrix of despondency, break out of this matrix of disappointment, break out of that. I really want to pay some attention. Yeah, Eight of Pentacles is kind of giving me that. There's a sense where there's like almost a zeroed in sense of attention that's been made here to say, I want to really kind of get to work on this. I want to work on the spaces and places there where I feel like there's lack in my life. I want to work on the places and spaces in my life here where I feel like I have discordant relationships. Five of Wands and the Lovers is giving me that. Where there is discordancy and a lack of unity within my relationships, most essentially within my own self. I want to create something new in my life. Within my life, within my soul, within my heart. Yeah, I'm getting almost like an incentivization because it just feels, yeah, it just feels like energetically here on a larger perspective here. The sun energy is like almost like blinding me in the face with that notion here. The ways there where you have that lack down, downtrodden perspective and feeling there, it's almost like you feel weird because it's like this just doesn't match. You're doing that in union, in part there in union and in with assistance and work with others. Oh, I see. Here's where also this Hangman energy is coming in here. There is also a notion here and a new perspective here where in that there is in so fact unity and harmony and almost a loving channeled sense here where your conditions here on earth, they're not here to attack you. They're not here to harm you. They're not here to bring you harm, in so fact. They are working with you. In fact, these conditions here are working and conspiring here in ways that are giving you opportunities there to do your best work. Oh, I see. Got it. Because that's where then in magic work there, that's the place there in manifestation work there, where that expression really elevates itself. It's in the ways there where you as the individual within the human body here looks at conditions here and say, how can I work with how can I work with this? Whether it's facets of my personality, whether it's facets of my mind, whether it's facets and perspectives in my mind, whether it is realities here in my relationship space, in the ways that I'm united there within myself and outside of myself, in the conditions here, especially because Five of Pentacles energy is giving me there's a lot of societal, like societal, more larger, collective, globalized perspective here, as far as, you know, has been coming through here. Job loss, money loss, loss of opportunity. There's been a lot of that kind of going here. Now there's a space there where you now center into perhaps a new chosen pathway and choice here in saying, okay, given those realities here, how can I work with this? What am I meant to work on? Yeah. Interesting. What am I meant to do with this? Yeah, Eight of Pentacles is giving me that. What am I meant to do with this? I don't want to stay stuck in this in this downtrodden perspective anymore. This doesn't serve. Perhaps I need a help. Perhaps I need help. Perhaps I need another perspective. Perhaps I need some assistance or whatever. But like, I don't want to be in this space anymore. If in so fact you are part of that collective, or you're coming out of that kind of space there where that was where you were perceiving. One of the most powerful ways here where we can ultimately change our conditions here within our heart, within our relationships, within our all of those conditions there is to get to work. That's how change occurs. It's getting to work. Got it. Got it. Yeah. And it is also in choosing the perspective there where there otherwise might be a stalemate. If even in the ways that where you're not very clear on what your game plan is, maybe you have made like a brief outline. I'm getting here where there can be the outline and the steps there. If even in the how, that's even not clear. But the notion there, even in an intuitive, even in like an emotional, just something, a notion here where, oh wow, your first step could even just be in saying, I choose love and positivity. I choose the higher perspective and the higher ways here in which my conditions here are looking me in my face and reflected within my life, within me and around me. I choose to perceive this in a higher expression. Might be even necessarily working to kind of occupy that in a conscious way. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting this is just about the end here. So let's see what else finally comes up here. Any last messages of love, light, healing, and wisdom for our communities, for our collective for September? Ooh. Yeah, there is the subjectivity and the perspective here. Five of Cups and the Hierophant. Oh, wow. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, Hierophant. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. But in the subjectivity here, here's where that's being captured in this Five of Cups energy. Yeah. Yeah, and it's almost like in this Five of Cups energy here, the ways there and where here you perceive is because ultimately, the despondent, this sucks, scarcity, those facets there, perspective there, as expressed there. Oh, interesting. Also, there's 3 5s on the table here. Five of Wands, 5 of Pentacles, 5 of Cups. So it's very auspicious there for freedom and for change in that expression. There's much freedom and change there and shift on the axis and the precipice of shift and change that's expressed there within those numbers. So that's number 1 here. But there's a notion here where, as expressed here in this Five of Cups energy there, in the ways there where you just perceive, like respectfully, it kind of really is like kind of a Debbie Downer kind of perspective there, where there's this notion here where everything sucks. I don't know what to do. This is all terrible here. Be clear here in this, as expressed here in this Five of Wands energy, that is the low form expression here and where you can perceive this and where you can operate here in interacting and engaging within your conditions here on life. And there's a notion here where if that is your perspective, if that is where you're going forth here, here is an opportunity here in the axis of work where you can work on that. Yeah. Yeah. The Hierophant here in this energy here, this is the space here where you might seek some advice. That's where I was getting here, this notion here of like advice, of help and assistance. That's being oh, interesting. Wow, there's like actually 4 fives here. A lot of 5 energy here on this scale here. Wow, that is super, that's interesting. Yeah, the Hierophant here in the, that's the 5th major arcana card here. But yeah, there's a notion here where if that is that despondent, low expression, kind of low vibe kind of perspective here that you're kind of working and operating and maybe one actively, but also maybe like subconsciously choosing there or moving with there, you might seek advice and assistance there in shifting that, number one. There can be another place here where you also work on transforming those conditions with wisdom. Yeah, yeah, because that's also what's being highlighted here in this the Hangman energy here. It's choosing and it's suspending yourself here to perceive conditions here from an axis here of wisdom. Yeah, you're perceiving, oh, interesting. You're perceiving it with wisdom. You're perceiving it with love and the Lover's energy. You're perceiving it with light and positivity and the Sun energy. And the ways here where you can actively do that work here and bring into that space, living your life from that vibration there, the better. And again, I'm getting here in this Hierophant energy here, there, you might be like bringing in the big dogs here as far as like help and assistance with that. So that could be a counselor, that could be a mentor, that could be an energy worker, that could be a light worker, that could be like it. But yeah, the ways here where you really like bring in the big dogs here and assisting with that there. If even in your guides, yeah, your guides, your ancestors, if especially if you have like a spiritual practice, which if you don't, you might find here where you even get to that work in building that practice, creating that sacred space for yourself. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Forming that relationship. 2 of Cups is giving me that. Yeah, especially with Lovers and 2 of Cups. That could also be, it could be forming a spiritual relationship. Yeah. Opening up that space there for that expression of a relationship. Yeah. Yeah. And also necessarily their notion here, because there's a certain expression, there's a certain excuse me, orthodoxy, conformity, doing what everybody's doing here. You might find here in this combination with the Hangman and the Hierophant energy, there's a notion there where even within your relationships there, your relationships, your conditions around you, you might find yourself breaking free here and seeing here where in this suspended space there, as much as my conditions here, if all that is and all that has transpired here served for good reason here, I am choosing here to no longer engage here with the norm here, with the sort of norm, quote unquote, here of the ways here which these conditions are disempowering, where I am stuck, where it's just a kind of a big Debbie Downer, this sucks kind of notion here. Actually, perhaps I want to choose something different here and even perceive it from a different space. Yeah. Yeah. Because in this 5 of Cups energy here, whether you perceive this, yeah, interesting. This is wrapping up what I was saying before here. As expressed here and illustrated here in this 5 of Cups energy, whether or not your conditions here on life here, in your life, in your condition, in your earth-based conditions, in your relationships, in your heart, and all of those expressions there of yourself there that define you, whether they are perceived and operated from a space of low vibe, from a space of low vibe, this sucks, or from a space here where there's a higher perspective, there's deep knowing and intuition that is coming here, it's correct either way. Yeah, it's almost like whether or not you perceive this as bad or good, you're correct either way. So what are you choosing? Are you choosing low vibe? Especially right now where even that expression increasingly stands to feel like you feel like a little bit awkward, really continuing to animate that expression. So it's kind of like, are you going to continue to choose that, or are you choosing to perceive this with wisdom, with love, and with high forms of golden alchemical light? Because that's where the change happens. And this 5 vibration here on the axis of shift there, it's in a change of perspective. And in the ways here where that is difficult, doing the work, the energetic work. Yeah, oh, ooh, interesting. Yeah. Hierophant and the 8 of Pentacles is giving me that in combination. Again, I was connecting before here where this expression here of work, it's spiritual, it can be spiritual work. It's multiple kinds of work here, especially with the Hierophant and the Hangman, both, which are both very, very spiritual, energetic, cosmic. Like it brings in a lot here beyond just the physical, tangible kind of work here. As far as like, say, I'm going to go to work, or kind of that earth-based kind of scope here. It's bridging those two. It's bridging those two divides there of heaven and earth. Heaven work that's done here within the heavens, and from your higher self there, from your higher perspective, from your soul, working on your soul, and also here in conditions here on earth. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting emotional work, physical work, spiritual work. A lot of that is really being emphasized here and serves to be well rewarded here. Because at the axis of this, again, there's a notion here where all those conditions there, and this is kind of part of the, kind of almost like the first initiatory step here. The Hangman energy is also giving me a certain initiation there. Yeah, interesting, yeah. 2 of Swords and a Hangman together are giving that. Here's your initiation. Yeah. From that initiatory gate here, are you going to stay in the low vibe and conform to the norms here where that is constructed, or are you going to break free? Are you going to choose to break free? Are you going to kind of get to the kind of work and valor here? Center into the kind of work and valor here in breaking free. In doing the personal work, in doing the spiritual work, in doing the work here to shift mindsets, shift conditions here within your life, within your earth-based conditions. And this resonates there in both small and big ways. It doesn't, it doesn't have to be this like, oh my gosh, I just decided out of nowhere to like pack up and sell all my things and then like move out west, or like, it doesn't have to be anything that dramatic. Even just in your choice here. And the notion here where something has to shift, I need to work on something. That's good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's all right. Yeah, I'm getting that sit here. Pretty straightforward there. So thank you for joining me again. Yeah, this wraps up September. So yeah, I'm really getting a lot of like, gets to work. So I hope that helps everyone here. If you would like a one-on-one, kind of more one-on-one help, especially as it resonates here and the energetic work, the spiritual work, the physical work, mental work, all of that kind of stuff, I do provide one-on-one sessions there through an intuitive guidance session series. So a couple of those series are named The Wild Man, Wild Woman, The Great Work, Venus versus Mars. There are also other offerings here that are going to be kind of expanding here for September, moving on here. If you want to learn more about that, Venus and Mercury and Virgo there. Just so much to talk about. But anyways, yeah, if you want to kind of get more one-on-one help and healing on that, and kind of to kind of make that shift there, do feel free to email me, Tiffany@theperfectlywise.com. Visit my website, www.theperfectlywise.com. You can find all those sessions there, book it, and, I'm happy to help, and, I look forward to working with you. So anyways, but that wraps us up for September again. Thank you all for joining me. That wraps us up here, and love and light for you for September and onwards. All right? Bye.